All right, today we're going to demystify PowerFX. It's the low-code language that's really changing the game for app development. You know, if you've ever had that thought that building your own app is just way too complicated, well, this explainer is definitely going to change your mind.
So let's start with this question because it's at the heart of everything. Just think about it. All those hours you spent mastering formulas in Excel, organizing all that data, what if those exact skills were the secret ingredient to building your own custom apps?
Well, that's exactly what PowerFX is. It's the answer. See, this isn't about learning some intimidating traditional programming language from the ground up. Not at all. It's about taking the logic you already understand from the world of spreadsheets and just applying it in a new and, frankly, an incredibly powerful way.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll connect the dots from Excel to making apps. Then we'll get into the basic grammar of it all, the action words, which we call operators, and the names for things, which are the identifiers. And to wrap it up, we'll see how putting these simple pieces together brings real logic to life.
So let's start with that first step, the journey from Excel to creating your own apps. Now, I want you to think of this less like starting school and more like a new adventure, where all the skills you've already got are the most valuable things in your backpack.
The whole point of PowerFX, its core mission, is to make app building accessible. It was literally created for the massive community of Excel users out there. The idea is to just tear down those barriers, get rid of that coding is scary feeling, and empower you to build the tools you need without having to become a full-on developer.
You know, every language has a basic grammar, right? Well, PowerFX is no different, and we're going to decode the two most fundamental parts of that grammar, operators and identifiers. Think of them as the verbs and the nouns. Once you get these, you can write any formula you want.
First up, operators. The easiest way to think about these is as the verbs of your formula. They're the action words. They do stuff, whether it's adding numbers, comparing two values, or sticking pieces of text together. They're the engine. And if operators are the verbs, well then identifiers are the nouns. It's that simple. They're just the names you give to all the different things in your app. It could be a slider, a button, a text label, a column of data. It's how you tell your formula what it's supposed to be working on.
Okay, so let's dive a little deeper into operators. And this is the best part because so much of this is going to feel familiar. Seriously, you already know way more than you think from your time in Excel, and this next part proves it.
Just take a look. What's the difference here? Nothing. The ampersand you use to join text together in Excel, it works exactly the same way in PowerFX. This is the whole idea. Your knowledge is directly transferable. There's no new syntax you have to learn here. Now, of course, PowerFX adds some even more powerful tools to your belt. With and or, you can build much more complex logical tests. And the in operator, that's a total game changer for searching. You want to check if a customer's comment has the word urgent in it? These operators let you ask much more sophisticated questions.
Okay, so we've got our action words, now we need our nouns. Let's talk about identifiers. This is just how we give a name to every single part of our app's world so that we can talk about it in our formulas.
So, what can you name? Pretty much anything you interact with. An identifier could be a control like a slider or a button. It could be a column in your data like price or quantity. It can even be a temporary variable you create. If you can see it or use it in your app, you can give it a name.
But here's the crucial part. Identifiers often have properties. Look at this example. Slider1.value. See that dot? Slider1 is the name of the control. That's our noun. And .value is a specific property of that control, kind of like an adjective. So we're not just pointing to the slider in general, we're pointing specifically to the number that the slider is currently set to.
All right, we have our verbs and we have our nouns. Now it's time to put them together and form a complete sentence. Let's bring some logic to life and see how an app actually becomes interactive.
And it's incredibly straightforward. We're going to imagine a really simple scenario. We have a text label, and we just want its color to change based on where we move a slider. It's a simple little effect, but believe me, it is the foundation of all interactivity in PowerFX. So this is the formula. Let's break it down using what we just learned. We've got an if function, and inside we're using the greater than operator, our verb, to compare our identifier, slider1.value, to the number 50. The formula reads just like a sentence. If the slider's value is greater than 50, then make the color red, otherwise make it black. Simple. And this right here is the absolute beauty of PowerFX. We didn't have to write some long, complex procedure telling the app what to do step by step.
Nope. We just wrote one small formula that describes a relationship, just like you would in an Excel cell. Your app becomes a collection of these simple relationships, and it just reacts.
And that really brings us full circle. The logic isn't new to you. You've been using it for years in spreadsheets. PowerFX just gives you a brand new canvas for those skills. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build with it?